Have you ever just looked at a word and wondered how it can twist and turn into something totally new? Well, it's not magic, it's kind of like the hidden architecture of language. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and unlock the code behind one of the most powerful tools in English, suffixes.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics. Then we're going to level up to see how suffixes can change what a word means and even what its job is in a sentence. After that, we'll take on the final boss, some really tricky spelling, and by the end, you'll have a brand new word superpower.
All right, first things first, we have to lay down the foundation. What in the world are we even talking about when we say suffix? The easiest way to think about it is like this. A root word is your basic building block, right? Like a single Lego brick. A suffix is that special piece you snap onto the end and it completely changes the whole thing. You're creating something brand new. And you can see how this works right away. Let's take a simple word, fast. You add the suffix "er" and you get faster. Bam, you've just introduced comparison. Or think about the word hope. Add less to the end and suddenly that positive feeling becomes its total opposite, hopeless. These aren't just random letters, they are serious meaning changers.
Okay, let's move on to level 1 and really see how this works. We're going to look at how different suffixes bring their own unique flavor to the party. You know, each suffix here has a very specific job. Some are for comparing things, like for more and est for most. But others, they do something really cool. They turn an idea into a concrete thing. So you take the idea of being a child, you add hood, and you get childhood, that whole state of being young. It's a really powerful way to talk about these bigger, more abstract concepts. Of course, it can't always be that simple, can it? English spelling just loves to keep us on our toes. So sometimes, before you can snap that suffix on, you've got to make a little tweak to the root word itself. Here's a classic example you can use all the time. If your root word ends with just one vowel and then one consonant, like run, you just double that last letter before adding the suffix. And that's exactly how run becomes runner, with two N's. Easy enough, right? Okay, This is where things get really interesting. We're leveling up. Suffixes don't just tweak a word's meaning. They can give it a completely different job in a sentence. This is a game changer. Yeah, we're talking about changing a word's entire class. And all a word class is its job. Is it a doing word, a verb? Or is it a person, place, or thing, a noun? Well, suffixes are the key that lets you make that switch. Just check out these transformations. You can take an action, a verb like teach, add and now you're talking about the person who does the teaching, a teacher. It lets us shift our focus from the action to the person. And it can even work in reverse. You can take a thing, a noun like apology, and turn it into an action by adding eyes to get apologize. How cool is that? And the transformations just keep on coming. You can change how something is done by adding ly to an adjective. So quick becomes quickly. Other suffixes are like little bundles of meaning all on their own. Adding full is basically a shortcut for saying full of, and less is a shortcut for without. It just makes our language so much more efficient. And hey, here's a quick public service announcement, because this one trips up so many people. Even though the suffix means full, it's spelled F-U-L with just one L. If you can remember that, you'll dodge a super common spelling mistake. All right, you've gotten the basics, you've leveled up your skills, now it's time. Let's face the final boss, mastering those really tricky spelling patterns that pop up with suffixes. Come on, let's be honest, who hasn't been there? You're writing something and you just stop. Is it dependable or dependable? It's a classic spelling headache. Luckily, there's a fantastic little trick for this. First off, just know that able is way more common, so it's a pretty good guess. But here's the real test. Take the suffix off. Are you left with a real word? With eatable, you take off able, and you're left with eat. Yep, that's a word. But with possible, you're left with pas, which is nothing. If there's no clear root word left, you're almost certainly looking at ible. Okay, next up, the shun sound. Think of words like action, permission, musician. They all have that same sound at the end, but the spelling is all over the place. Well, believe it or not, there's a secret. You just have to look at the letter that comes right before it. The whole key is just looking at the very end of that root word. If it ends with a T sound, you use tion. If it ends in ss or mint, you use sion. If it ends with a D or C sound, you also use sion. And finally, if you see a C at the end, that's your signal to use cian, like in magician. See?
There's a hidden system right there in the spelling.
But, and this is a big but, you have to use your ears. If the sound is a little bit softer, more of a zh sound instead of a hard shun, like in television or decision, then it is always spelled with shun. The sound is your clue. And we see a really similar pattern for the schwul sound. How do you know if it's schol or tial? Simple. Just look at the letter that comes right before it. If it's a vowel, like in special, you use schol. If it's a consonant, like in essential, you use tial.
And just to keep things from getting boring, the source material gives us this very real warning. Look out, there are lots of exceptions. Words like financial break the rule. So these patterns are a fantastic guide, but they're not always going to be 100% foolproof.
So, we've faced the final boss and we made it through. We've unlocked the code. What does that mean for you? Well, it means you now officially have a new word superpower. So let's quickly recap what we've learned. We saw that suffixes are the basic building blocks of language. We leveled up and realized they change a word's meaning and its entire job. We faced down those tricky spellings and learned that even the most confusing ones usually follow some kind of pattern. And that's the real power here. Once you know the rules, you can master the exceptions.
You now see the hidden logic behind so many of the words you see and use every single day. You get how they're built, how they're changed, and how they connect to each other. So I guess the only question left is, now that you know the code, what words are you going to build?